Boom! We're back. Squeeze the Neck podcast with my new mate, pretending to be a cab driver on the phone. I've got a feeling he's going to wind me up rotten today.
Who, me?
Nabil Abdulrashid, thank you for doing this, mate.
Thanks for having me down, man.
So, goes back saying you're a comedian. I would never have guessed from speaking to you for these 2 minutes. We arranged to meet about 4 hours ago. He showed up 4 hours late. We'll forgive him. We got onto that for another time. But as I say, mate, appreciate you doing this. It's been a long time coming, huh?
Yeah, pause.
Wife
and it's Jiu Jitsu. Everything's gay in Jiu Jitsu. But yeah, nice to finally meet you in person.
We got there. We spoke. We arranged this yesterday in the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
Didn't we straight away last minute? And
yep.
I bent the rules for you. And as I say,
pause.
Hey.
Sorry.
Hey, who's over there? Somebody, just in case. There's a couple of crutches there in case things get hairy today. But comedian by trade. Do a bit of martial arts, which is why we're here. Didn't mention it. We're at the home GB top team, the only place to be. If you know, you know. But mate, take us back a bit. How did you get into comedy? Where you're from? How did you get into martial arts? All of the above or none of the above? Whatever you want.
In the beginning, there was nothing. And
here we go.
So martial arts for me is like a childhood obsession. Kind of like with stand-up. So I'm from a not well-known country. It's full of like small, quiet people called Nigeria. And I see you're aware of us. So I grew up in northern Nigeria, which at the time, just not to go all political and stuff, we were still a military, we were under a military regime. We were not a democracy. Well, we pretend to be one now, but at the time we didn't even bother to pretend.
Right.
You know, all the soldiers now, they've taken off their gear and put on suits, but it's still the same shit. But like, yeah, we were still under military rule, and so like aggression. Like I was from the north as well, where most soldiers in Nigeria come from, at the time anyway, and so the culture was different from like growing up, like say now in the UK. So for example, in school, if two kids were to get into a fight, the teachers would, let them fight. When they're tired, they will stop. Let them fight. That was...
Right, that was it, yeah. Right.
And if you got suspended from school for fighting as a boy, it wasn't seen as a bad thing. Or like if you and a friend were bored, you could just get up and fight. So literally, so that was the culture that I grew up under. And like, I was the youngest in my family. My two older brothers were much older. So they weren't around, right? So they were like 10, 12 years older than me.
Okay.
So like in the culture we're from, if say me and you have a disagreement, you beat me up, I get my older brother to fight you.
Okay.
Right?
Old school.
Very
Very
old school.
Yeah.
But like if say you argue with my sister, you can't fight my sister. So you just go and fight the brother. Right. Now my immediate sibling, 3 years older than me, is my sister. And she's a terrible human being. So I fucking hate her. So if you're watching this, I hope you get hit by a bus. Anyway, so she's a terrible person, and so a lot of people didn't like her. And I would have to fight them at school. Right? And I'm 3 years younger, and as you know, when you're them kind of ages from birth until about when you hit 21, that 3-year age gap is...
Problem. It's a big problem, yeah.
So I was constantly having to fight kids older than me growing up. And then also, I got diagnosed with ADHD before it was cool.
Don't believe
right,
it. What are you talking about?
I know. I mean, I knew I was some kind of retarded from the beginning. And then when it was at school, because I kept on doing mad shit, I would do stuff, get into trouble, start shit. And the teachers had to write to my mom and say, we want to give him a test to see if he's stupid or there's another problem. Right? And they gave me an IQ test and found that I was actually very bright. But I was bored, so I would do mad things to entertain myself. So they were like, congratulations, he's not stupid, he's just mad, right? So congratulations. So they said it was ADHD and some other stuff. So my parents didn't medicate me, they just beat me. No, they thought the best thing to do would be to put me into martial arts because I had a very bad temper. You would too if you had to fight every day.
Right, for a sister you didn't even like.
Yeah, you know, then go home and fight the same sister. You know, it was...
Right.
So they dropped me off and at NDA, Nigerian Defense Academy, which is a big military complex in Kaduna, northern Nigeria, where I grew up.
And you're how old at this point?
7. And they're like, yeah, you're going to start learning karate now, right? And like karate, as it's taught in Nigeria, it's not like what we have here, like in a church hall every Sunday. Like our teacher was insane. Like I remember, like, honestly, I don't even know if it was really karate or if he was just working through some problems, like a divorce. and took it out on us. Right? Like, he would just go, Yay! Oh, touch me, touch fire. Like, he would hit us full power and tell us the names of the moves in Japanese. I'm like, this isn't karate. This is Nigerian parenting with Japanese subtitles. Like, he would just smack the shit out of us, make us carry buckets of water, say all these crazy things like, oh, when the eagle is flying, the pigeon becomes a pedestrian. Like, what the fuck does that even mean, bro? Like, he would say all this stuff. But I'll tell you what was good is a lot of the karate that we were taught was old school. So it still had takedowns, it still had sweeps.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so basically it was basically karate and judo he was teaching. So from a young age, I go into judo, I go into karate, and then growing up like most young men, I was really into superheroes. I liked all your James Bond, all the Van Damme movies, all that kind of stuff. So like I would build like many things in the house, in the back garden. Watch WWE as well. And the
Hey, yo, WWF back in them days, man. Come on.
WWF,
hey, if you know, you know. Let's be real.
Come on, like my guy was the Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, before my time. Yeah. No, I was like Rock, Stone Cold was my era.
No lie, I know who your favorite wrestler was.
Yeah, you know me.
Your favorite wrestler was Goldust. Why are you lying?
We might have to take a pause here for laughing break.
He has a Goldust tattoo on his lower back. I don't know why he's lying to you.
Goldust. I wouldn't even thought of Goldust. He's way down the pecking order.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Kane, Undertaker, Goldust. Not Goldust. No Goldust.
You can't escape Goldust, bro. But like, so I liked wrestling because like a lot of the moves in wrestling I recognize from old school judo.
Right.
Because we did judo that still had Nawaza in it and stuff.
Okay.
Because socially, Nigeria was behind, like in terms of things like child abuse and health and safety. We still got taught the stuff that you're not allowed to teach now.
Right.
You know. So
was there a benefit to that? Like jokes aside,
of course, there was a big benefit. It wasn't very nice, but it had benefits. And then if you add to that the fact that in school back home, that you're gonna fight a lot. So I developed an interest in fighting and then I had friends we had a lot of books in the house. The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's book, was in my house.
Right,
we had books on wrestling, catch wrestling in the house. So from an early age, I knew what these things were. And then when the first UFC came out eventually, I got a hold of that. Mm-hmm. So, and I had a cousin who was back and forth between the UK and Nigeria. And he would come out with these Paladin cassettes, tutorials on Russian combat sambo and all this kind of stuff. So we didn't have anywhere to do sambo or whatever. So we just practiced what we saw on the tapes. Kind of like BJ Penn did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Bas Rutten was big for that. I know.
Exactly. Bas Rutten. But at that time, there was certainly a lot of new martial arts fans don't even know. There used to be this organization in Japan where it was wrestling with submissions, and they had grappling competitions. Right. There was also a karate competition where in round 1, they wore gis and they kickboxed. Then in round 2, they were allowed to grapple.
Right.
Things like that. So I used to watch all of that. Sanda, we got surprisingly a lot of stuff we had access to in Nigeria. And anything that had to do with people fighting, I love. If I saw 2 homeless guys fighting on the street, I pull out a scorecard and rate it.
You was into it.
Yeah. I loved, I still love fighting now. I just don't like the consequences that come with it, which we'll get to, So I really love people like James Bond, Bruce Wayne. I love the idea of being a regular everyday guy that could look after himself.
Right, I got you.
I really, really enjoyed that. With stand-up, that was another passion I always had. I remember we had a cassette, VHS. I don't know. Do you know what a VHS is?
VHS was back in the day. I'm going to pretend, while that's on, I'm going to pretend I'm too young to know what they are. But yeah, they were everywhere. They were a big thing once upon a time. Yeah,
might be before your time, darling. It was in the VHS. We had a VHS that had Eddie Murphy, Rowan Atkinson, so that Mr. Bean doing stand-up.
Right, okay.
And Eddie Murphy, all on one cassette, because Nigeria is fantastic when it comes to bootlegging.
Right.
And I remember at the age of 4 or 5 watching that and thinking, wow, I don't know what those guys are, but I like what they're doing. Standing on stage doing stand-up is amazing, right? But of course, growing up in Nigeria, you can't say you want to be a stand-up comic. It's either lawyer, doctor, soldier, or corrupt politician. After being one of the first 3. So in my head, I was always a goofy kid. I was naturally a very happy-go-lucky, jokey kid. but because of the environment I was in, unfortunately, violence was something that I had to normalize to myself.
Well, I'll tell you two things as well that I think of with Nigeria, because you've had like a lot of success football, like World Cup and stuff. They're the African nation that when I was a kid that was sort of like leading the torch, if you like. And boxers, you've had a lot of successful boxers. Were they on your radar when you was a kid?
100%. Like, you know, a lot of people don't realize this, but before football became Nigeria's national sport, it was boxing.
Right, okay.
Then the Nigerian Civil War happened, and a lot of, when that was over, there was almost like an intentional diversion from that. But if you do history, there were guys like Hogan, Bassi, Dick Tiger. There were so many. Again, I'm a boxing nerd. I'm a boxing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm, again, the tism, but like when it comes to things like martial arts or combat sports, like I could sit down and discuss it for hours on end. I really love, right down to if you even want to talk about the old Greek pancration and all. I love the history.
You said it right as well.
Pancration, Malaka.
People call it pancration. You're the first man I've ever seen that calls it pancration. Yeah.
Pancration, Malaka.
There you go.
That's all the Greek guys here love me. But like, everybody loves me, man. Wouldn't you love me? Anyway, so like, I loved, like, you know, the history of martial arts and where they came from, how they became what they became. And I also love art and performance. Again, it's just naturally what I find myself gravitating to. Now, as I get to the end of secondary school, like, you know, obviously we practice all these moves in my house, watching these tapes, because we get into fights at school and you want to be able to use them.
Yeah.
And like me and my friends, we knew we'd be fighting older kids a lot of the time. So we would practice stuff to make sure that if we had to use it, it would work, right? Which is, again, what martial arts is all about. You know, and obviously years pass, graduate. At the time, again, problems with the government, Nigeria's government, like, universities go on strike. So my parents decided to send me to the UK because they're like, oh yeah, that, you know, also I was so much trouble. You know how they send kids from England to Nigeria because they're bad? I was so bad, they sent me here.
You went the other way around.
Yeah, they were like, nah, this is too much. We need to send him.
This kid's a nightmare, get rid of him.
like my mom would say little prayers every time I left the house because of how much trouble I used to get into. But it's because I was misunderstood.
That's what it was. It's their fault, not yours, bro. Don't worry about it.
So, you know, when I got to the UK, I first moved to northwest London. I was on St. Ralph's Estate when it was at the height of badness. Like, you know, we're finding people chopped up in dumpsters and like, there was all kinds of stuff. And they did this thing, as a process called farming, where like Nigerians will pay somebody, a family in the UK, to look after their kid, even though they don't really know the family. And that can go, has anyone ever told you, kind of like Michael Bisping? That could go so wrong. And
Michael Bisping.
sorry, I forgot to mention I'm casually racist. So
All white people look the same. You look like Bisping. No, in fairness, I have heard that a few times. I have heard Bisping, but you know,
so maybe
I was offended the other 2 times as well. But never mind, we're crack on.
Hey, at least you don't get called Big Nasty. Like, what the fuck? This when does Big Nasty look like me? Hey, so yeah, I moved to the UK and like I'm living on St. Ralph's Estate.
And sorry, what age are you at this point?
17?
Kid, yeah.
Yeah, 17, 18 years old. I moved to St. Ralph's and like the person that they're paying to look after me runs off with the money to start a business in Nigeria and leaves, not in Nigeria, in China.
Right.
And leaves me on this notorious, anybody that knows about St. Ralph's will tell you, it was, you know, this was when, people say that the UK and London are becoming more violent now. I don't think that's true.
Right.
Because the things that I saw, they can't happen now. Like, they can't happen now. There's too much CCTV and phones. It's still bad. And I hope it gets better. But what was happening then was crazy. Like, you don't hear about people being killed and burnt in cars and all that kind of, you don't hear, you know, even the stabbings and stuff, like, then it was worse, way worse. Like, everybody had a friend that got touched at that time. And so I came to the UK and, like, the woman, it was a woman whose house I was staying at, like, she was dating a police officer who would come in uniform to her house. So now, there's me in this flat, right in the middle of one of the most notorious estates, and they think that I'm affiliated to a police officer. And then where that place is, like, you know, I had friends, like, if you want to go to Harlesden and you're from St. Ralph's, you get moved to because people think you're from St. Ralph's.
Right.
If you want to go from Housden to Stonebridge, just further down the road, you get moved to because people think you're from Housden. So like every day there was some kind of problem, every single day. And then like if you want to go towards Wembley side, then that's when like a lot of the Somalis were in, and like unfortunately they had their own thing going on, and Sri Lankans had their own thing going on. Then if you were black, you dare not go to Sudbury because travelers would, like, it was crazy. And that's when I arrived. So I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go to Barnet College in Hendon because that's away from all of this. I get to Hendon and the gang with the gayest fucking name for a gang, Thug Family. Like, what kind of name for a gang is that? Like, hey guys, we donate all the proceeds from robberies to charity, right? So I get to Barnet College and there's a gang called Thug Family, and then they don't like me because I'm from Neasden. I'm like, for fuck's sake, like, I don't even own any. Why am I being, everywhere I go, I always inherit beef. So the fighting stuff kicks off again, and trouble kicks off again there, and eventually, I mix in the wrong crowd, and while all of this is going on, I'm going back and forth from St. Ralph's to Hendon. I eventually move to Golders Green because I figured that if police ever raid my house, they're not likely to, they're not, if police ever get a hold of me, they're not going to raid my house because I lived right next to a kibbutz.
Up there for thinking.
Nigerian after all. So that's why I was involved in all this nefarious activity that I was doing, which I will not specify because it's invalid. It's irrelevant. So while I'm in the area, there was a place called East West Studios.
Okay.
And I pass it and I see they're doing martial arts in there. And I go in, and Stan Diamond Prescott was his name. He was teaching Muay Thai. But not just Muay Thai, he was teaching like traditional Muay Thai, like Muay Boran and, all the other aspects of Muay Thai you don't really see in a lot of gyms. So I walk into the class, and the first day, like, because we didn't have Muay Thai in Nigeria, it was karate, taekwondo, judo, boxing. That's all we had.
Right.
So I walk in, and like, I've boxed, I've done a bit of karate, I've done a bit of judo. But like, this is from the movie Kickboxer. I always wanted to do Muay Thai. I'm like, oh shit, now I can do this stuff. So I go in, and the first day he has us countering a jab by headbutting the fist. Ooh. Or like parrying into your elbow. I'm like, ooh, I like this. So I start doing that. The owner of the gym was a man named Steve Benitez. And they taught like a weird martial art there as well called Silat. I don't know if you've ever come across it.
Pencak Silat.
Yeah,
right?
Pencak Silat. So I was doing Silat and Muay Thai for a bit. They were doing kickboxing at my college. Wasn't really doing any grappling arts at the time. Now, obviously, while I'm in college, again, like I said, I'm getting into altercations because of where the thing is. And there was a gang that used to harass girls in the estates, because Barnet College was right next to an estate, Graham Park Estate.
Okay.
That college has now been knocked down. So at the time, if you want to go, there was like a chip shop, amazing chip. The old school chip shop owned by Chinese people. Yeah,
yeah.
Like proper rude. You go in there, you get your curry on your chips.
Uh-huh.
You come to there, we cross. Yeah. You go back, we cross. What your problem? Yeah, it was one of those places.
It's a mystery you've ended up a comedian, really.
But when they're rude, the food always tastes better. Mm-hmm. So we're going there, and like they used to jack people from our college. So there was a couple of us boys there that all could kind of fight. So like, fuck it, we'll come with the people from our college, and then we ended up getting into altercations. So like again, I was happy because I got to practice what I was learning.
Have you always been a big guy as well? Like you're a big strong man now. Was you always that type?
Stop it.
We're cut that out.
I don't feel like I'm a big guy though.
No. Okay. But you are, right? So like when you was younger, have you always been sort of physically able, if you like? You've always had a leg up with it.
Yeah, I've always been on the stronger side of things.
That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I've always been quite I've always been fairly formidable. I think this is probably me at the least imposing stage of my life. At one point, like I was, probably, yeah. But yeah, I've always kind of been a big lad. I'm not that big to me, but I understand what people probably see. I've been told, however, that when you see me on screen or in videos, it doesn't actually portray what I'm like in person. Which is funny because again, I get a lot of people talking shit online, and then they see me in person like, oh shit.
But listen, UFC heavyweight champions would be getting shit online, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? See it in person.
Oh shit! I've been told that I'm a lot more formidable in person.
I gotcha.
Especially because of my personality. Like,
Yeah,
I'm always,
right.
So like, I've always been I've always been kind of big, and like, we're getting to these situations, so I'm starting to see what works and what doesn't, because I'm a big proponent of that. Long and short, I end up going to prison for some urban pharmacy related charges. I was very industrious, you see. It's the economy. It drove me. I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the culture. Anyway, I get sent before I turned 20 to prison, but because prisons were crowded, I didn't go young offenders. They sent me to Wormwood Scrubs, which is a B-cat prison, but at the time was A-cat and B-cat. So for those who don't know, Category A is terrorists, mass murderers, like highest level. Category B.
Big boy prison, huh?
Yeah, then Category B is just a little bit below that, right? And I got locked up with A and B. So like, I was a young boy, very dangerous grown men in jail. And, first, because I wasn't a gang member per se, I had friends, but I was never part of a gang. I'm a loner naturally, right? First few months while I was in there, you have situations where, because I carry myself a certain way, it's very easy, despite my size, for someone to think that I'm someone that you can bully. And history will prove that I am not. So I got into a lot of altercations inside. And then over time, I made friends with other guys who did martial arts in prison. So there were guys there that boxed, naturally. Most enforcers at the time were boxers. There was a lot of MMA guys in jail because people don't realize now the current climate for MMA is not the same as it was 20, 25 years ago. Like you do now, while I was there, I met a guy and he was teaching submission grappling. And, I showed him that I knew some stuff, but I hadn't done it properly in ages. And when we got moved to DCAT, there was a guy that taught Muay Thai and there was a guy that would teach submission grappling. And there was a Wing Chun guy there too, and we would all just train in the and that really brought a lot of calmness. Like it was, we all kept out of trouble. We would do pad work every now and then.
So you're actually training. You're not just having tear-ups and like.
No. It would tear ups for the first 6 months, and then I ended up being put in high risk, the high risk section, because like there was this guy. I had a cellmate, and I told the gov that, look, I can't share a cell with anyone. He was like, oh, really? Would you like massages as well, sweetheart? What do you think this is, the Ritz? Fuck off. Okay. Now, I had like a stack of corned beef and tuna and tobacco, because that's currency. You want to get a haircut, you need to have that stuff. And I noticed that my stock was going down. So I'm like, what's going on? And I realized my cellmate was taking my stuff and gambling with it to play table tennis. And he was shit at table tennis, so he was losing.
Losing all cans of fish.
Yeah, so one day I went to him and I tried to like reason with him. I was like, you shouldn't be touching my stuff. And he, like, what? Because he was like, used to take steroids and I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. Now wait till it was like, bang up, like, night stuff are in. There's less screws on the wing. There's only like maybe 1 or 2 per landing. We were on C wing in Wormwood Scrubs, which was the biggest. At the time, was the biggest prison wing in Europe.
Which is how many people on that wing?
Fuck knows, mate.
Like proper.
Too many. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, God knows. It was like the size of a school.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So by the time the screws get to you, whatever's happening to you in that cell has happened.
Right.
So I was like, okay, no problem.
They're not saving you.
No problem. Oh, if you enjoy the sardines, it's good. At night, when I knew that, like, even the screws here are probably asleep like 1, I woke him up and had a slightly more physical conversation with him.
Nice of you to wake him up first, to be fair, would it?
Yeah, obviously. You don't. Yeah,
You've got to be polite,
Yeah,
right?
of course. I'm a gentleman. If anything, I am a gentleman. Yes. So they could hear him screaming. I can still hear it too.
You're a special cat, you aren't you? Jesus Christ.
Anyway, so eventually they got into the cell and they took him to wherever they take people that are hurt badly. and they took me to the block, right? So they've got my arms behind my back. They're taking me off the wing, and I see the governor of the wing, and I said, I told you I couldn't share a cell. And he starts pissing himself laughing.
Oh, he's laughing?
Because that's why I told you I couldn't. So they gave me a single cell, and that was when peace began for me. And that's why I started doing creative writing in prison. The teacher used to come in and teach the course, told me that when I come out, I should do stand-up because I was good at telling a story and stuff. And so it's funny, I discovered a lot of stuff about myself in prison. And then I met these guys that I would train with, and I thought, as soon as I wanna get back into martial arts, and I did. And we fast forward many years, I got to meet a lot of great martial artists, off and on. Muscle FX Gym in Croydon became Jimmy Manuel's Lions Pride Gym, so I was there.
Oh, you was there as well? Yeah, you've been all over, man.
Yeah, I was there. That was it wasn't the most technical, right? But if you wanted to tear up, you go there. I remember walking down the street with my friend Babs, and we're walking down. This guy walks up to me and says, "Oh, do you remember me, big man?" And I'm trying to think, because like I said, I've lived, right? So that could be a number of scenarios where I know this guy from. You broke my leg, and then he hugs me, and it turns out, it was a guy whose leg I broke at Lions Pride. With a low kick.
Yeah. Could have gone wrong there.
But he was happy.
Yeah.
But it was. I think I was training. I wanted to fight, but life kept happening. So I had two paths. I could either go the comedy route or go the MMA route. And at the time, there was no clear path to the UFC or to I was around them times when Kim Farid was still fighting, and people like Ian the Machine Freeman, and real if you some guys think they know MMA, but if you know UK MMA, these guys were proper pioneers, trendsetters, but a lot of them weren't really getting what I feel they deserved.
But they probably still had jobs on the side as well, didn't they? They weren't
Yeah. When I was walking into MMA gyms, you didn't see engineers and tech bros and pretty boys that have Instagrams where they do get ready with me. I'm thinking about one guy in this gym. I love him, but I'm like, bro, 20 years ago, you would not be here.
Right.
It was all guys on their way in or out of prison, scary looking guys. I didn't fit in. I didn't match the aesthetic of most guys in these settings. I didn't look as tough as and I just thought to myself, most of these guys have been fighting for a long time, and all they have to show for it is CTE, bruises, and that's it. And then that was around the time that even what's his face, Lee Murray done that big bank robbery. I'm like, these guys are all skilled, but it's not doing anything for. Even now, we're saying the same thing about MMA, but at least now it's a pathway to you could become a movie star. You become you could join the UFC, maybe not get paid that much money, but you're famous enough to become a content creator. Back then, there was none of that, especially not for UK guys.
Right. It was still looked at as weird as well back then. Wasn't it? It was a strange thing. What were you up to? What were you doing that for?
Cage fighting.
Yeah. Why don't you box instead? Was something here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
You mean that stuff with no rules?
Yeah.
Yes, there are rules. But why are they lying on the floor? I mean, it's still weird now. Yeah. I'll meet up with my wife's friends' husbands, and they'll look at me like I'm a Neanderthal.
Right.
Wait, you do what? Every evening? I'm like, well, I meet up with a bunch of men in a dark, sweaty room. A lot of us are wearing Lycra.
All tight, yeah. We'll leave that one alone. But
really?
Go back a step, mate. How long was you inside for, and what was your sentence?
So I was looking at 9, but evidence went missing.
As luck would have it.
As luck would have it. I got hit with 3 because I had very good mitigating circumstances. Because I was doing all the stuff I was doing, but I was still going and studying.
Right.
So my lecturers all wrote lovely...
Model prisoner.
I was the guy with the kufi. You see, my brother, we must ride. I was the guy with the kufi and a shank and a book. Just
big smile and a thumb up.
Yeah. You see, my brother, you can rise above this. Don't make me have to stab you in the name of Allah. Because so I was that guy, Only thing I didn't have was the Malcolm X shades. And
Not yet. Give it time, man. There's still time. We're still young. We're still young.
oh, flat tray will get you.
But I tell you what's funny, like the immediate thing, like as soon as I meet you today, I've seen you before, but like the first time we've met properly today, you're funny straight away. You're one of them blokes that says hello, and I could say the same thing as you, but you're funny, I'm not, right? Whereas like some comedians, like you've met way more than me, but sometimes you meet a comedian, you go, "How's he make a living from telling jokes? He's boring. He can't make me laugh if he tried." But like, you're obviously, you come from it from like a personality point of view, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is, so I'm assuming, I'm going to almost answer me, I'm questioning, but you would have been funny from the off anyway, right?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, even if you ask, like, I don't think I'm funny. I just think I'm me. I'm myself. But maybe that's what works for me. I don't really care. I'm just me. Like, I went back to Nigeria with my wife, and she met all my teachers from secondary school, and they all said the same thing. Oh, he was annoying, but he was so funny.
Right.
Oh, he was a little shit, but he was funny. We loved him, really.
Yeah.
But we still, so that's the thing. And I think it helps because of the nature of my stand-up. I don't know if you've seen it, but a lot of it is really dark stuff. I'm talking about politics or really horrible things that I saw on the streets and things like that. And you have to have, I think there was a period in my life where I stopped being this person because situations meant I couldn't be. But once I became comfortable, this sounds so fucking... Anyway, once I found myself...
Oh no, he's gone with the I found myself.
Opened my chakras.
We were doing so well, weren't we? How long have we been going? Jesus Christ.
No, but I think, once you're comfortable in who you are and you don't care about what people think, and I say the same for fighters. Sean Strickland, for example, he stopped trying to be this company. He's just who he is.
Yeah.
And some people like him, some people hate. Even this now, when you post this up or whatever, some people will not like me. And that's fine. You're wrong, but but the most important thing you can be is yourself. I think if I was if there was another universe, whatever job I would have ended up doing, I'd still be this person. If I was a professor,
you'd be a funny professor. Yeah.
A preacher, if I was a fighter, I'd probably be a lot healthier. Well, actually, maybe not. But I would still have this. This is who I am since I was a kid. I've always been jovial, because I think, like, especially now that I look back, so many things I've seen where I'm not supposed to be here. I've died many times, in figuratively, but I'm here. So I have a very upbeat outlook to life. Like, it could end at any moment. It could have ended many times, but I'm here. Not because I'm good, not because I'm better than anyone. I'm just fortunate. So what's wrong with having a smile on your face and being kind to people and making other people smile if you can, or breaking their arms if they need it? It's a balance,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and obviously being at GB Top Team, there's a lot of big characters in here too.
Oh yeah,
right?
I love it.
But if we step back, like, what brought you here originally? Because, like, jokes aside, it's not an easy thing to do, is it, to walk into an MMA gym at this level and go, I want to train? Do you know what I mean? Even if I know you've got a lot of experience, but walking in as an adult, I think sometimes people go, I can't be asked to meet new people. I can't be. Do you know what I mean? That's a big part of it as well, isn't it? Because we've all been in gyms, and I'm sure you have, where you walk in and you're like, the training's good, but it's a cold environment. You go, I'll try somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you get involved, like, down here?
So what it is, I bounce from gym to gym because gyms close. Good gyms tend to close.
They do.
Yeah?
They do.
And at one point I was at a place called KO South, Bensham Lane. So it was primarily a Muay Thai gym, but shout out to Marek Idzikowski. We had a coach there called Marek Idzikowski. He was a student of a guy called Robert Sulski, Polish guy, would you have guessed? And he was like a catch wrestler, submission grappler, no belts. Just you grapple and you learn to kurva, do submission. And I trained there. I would do Muay Thai every morning, come back in the evenings, do MMA, then stay for MMA grappling. And I was around the time I had my kids and stuff. And then my lifestyle from young, man, I've been hit with golf clubs. I've been in car accidents. I've fallen out of high buildings, all kinds of things. I've been stabbed. Injuries just started piling up, and then I started getting more injuries. I had a freak injury lifting weights, and like just overall, I became very unhealthy. Like my knees, my right knee went I had some injuries, like problems in vertebrae in my neck and spine. So there was, and then at what time I couldn't raise my right arm, so, and then that gym was helping me with these things. I was still trying to train. The gym closed down. Lockdown happened. And I had my second kid, and I piled on. Over the years, I just got fatter and fatter and fatter. Like, I mean, I'm still, I'm cuddly now, but at my highest weight, I weighed 183 kg.
Yo, that's big, right? How tall are you?
According to the police, I'm 6'1".
According to the police, you're 6'1". With shoes, without shoes.
Without. So, like, like, I've always been heavy. I've always been quite a heavy set lad. But, like, I was 120, looked like I was 100 kilos, right? And then I just, at the time of the lockdown, I ballooned to like 160. I thought, oh, this is too much. And then that was when I was on Britain's Got Talent. I weighed around 100. And you could see from my audition to my final how much weight I gained. Because I was depressed. I couldn't run. If I jogged, I would have sciatica, headaches, all kinds of issues. And then I just, I couldn't train. So I just piled on. And when your body is used to exercise and you stop, you might still eat like you used to exercise.
Well, that's the thing. You still,
Yeah.
Right.
And like, obviously, I'm Nigerian. My wife is Iranian, Pakistani. Big food, big portion culture. So like, I train my kids. I'm teaching them stuff so they can defend themselves, because I think it's important to get your kids started early. And like, I'm showing them things, and then like, they were training at New Wave at the time. New Wave is not far from here. And one of their coaches, her name was Kate Bacek. She's a fighter.
She's been on here twice. Kate Bacek, friend of the show. Shout out, Kate.
So my kids call her Auntie Kate.
Do they? Yeah, she's great, Kate.
When Kate had matches, she would come. My wife would do her hair. I don't know if she minds me saying that. Right. And obviously, because I've been training with Marek for so long, I got given a nickname, Jarek, right?
Okay.
They called me the Black Polish man.
Okay.
Because the MMA section of our gym was just Polish people.
You're right.
So naturally, I took to Kate because she's the most Nigerian Polish person I know, and I'm the most Polish Nigerian person. So she moved to GB Top Team, and she kept on telling me that, oh, you should train, you should train. She used to make fun of because I was fat. And one time she held pads for me, and I remember hitting the pads, and she was shocked. And she was like, you should actually train. You might, But I was so insecure, I didn't want to do it.
Right.
And then...
Because you was big, is it?
Yeah, I was overweight, unhealthy. And then I started noticing that more and more people I know from back in the day were like Hassan Galezi here. Chris Otakito, who just did, not too long ago, he did, that grappling competition, Polaris.
Yep.
He trained. I remember when Chris was a white belt.
Really, right.
And I was there. I saw him. I know guys like Chigs. So many guys I know, or I'm linked to indirectly, were training here. Alex Lohori, I remember him. And they were training here. So I was like, okay, you know what? On my birthday, 3rd of September, I said, I'm going to go. I messaged the gym. Because this is the thing. Because I know I've got ADHD, what I do is I trick myself. I force myself to take action. So if there's a thing I'm procrastinating, I'll set a date. So I have to do it. So I messaged the gym and I said, I'm going to come for a trial. I was like, oh shit, now I have to go.
Right, yeah.
I turned up for the trial. I could barely make it up the stairs, mate.
Right, you're still big at this point.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is I'm heavy, 183 kilos.
That's big, isn't it? Like,
that's like almost
400 pounds on it.
Yeah, 400 pounds, like what, 30 odd stone?
Yeah, big.
So I'm struggling to get up the stairs. I turn up for Archer's Jiu Jitsu class. 5 minutes in, I'm already soaked in sweat. The first week, I felt like I was dying. I was like, I can't quit because I've got 2 daughters. I want to be alive. I want to be not just alive, but as a father, I'm very traditional in my mindset. I think good men should be strong and fit because the bad men already are. Good men should be trained because bad men already know how to be violent. So I was like, look, I never realized my dream of fighting. Like, I did some small interclub stuff and I grappled, but the least I can do is be capable, So I joined September 3rd, 2024, and within a year, I lost 40 kilos.
40?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's life changing, isn't it? That's not
Absolutely.
That's not a joke. That's like a completely different life now.
And listen, like I came in. I remember Ash, like I was lying down after like doing the beginners Jiu Jitsu class. I was lying down next to the mat, and then Ash walks in. You know, Ash. I mean, how can I describe? He's lore accurate Wolverine, you know, from the X-Men. He walks in, he's like, "Oi, you always say hello, but you never do my class. Why?" I said, "Because I'm shit." He said, "Yeah, so are they. Get on the mat."
So are they.
I said, "But I can't even get up." He said, "Good, we're starting from God today. Get on the mat." So I get on. I meet someone that, again, linked to many people that I used to know. Patrick. I don't know if you met Patrick Jallo. No. He's a black belt.
Okay.
He used to fight out of Band Dogs. He used to train at Strong MMA as well. He's one of the black belts. And he's one of, I think Ash gave him his black belt. So you know It's not a joke.
That's a real black belt, yeah.
So within 1 week, I'm now rolling with the advanced guys. Now remember, my grappling background, the last thing I did with a belt was judo, right? But my submission grappling, no belts.
Okay.
No belts. I competed against blue belts.
No gi?
No gi, nothing.
No
just
belt,
submission.
no.
Yeah.
Right.
You just, the belt is for curva, hold waist and trousers. Even my coach, never formally done Brazilian, my old coach, he trained with Rob Soski. Ash actually trained with Rob Soski too. In Top Wrestling Academy, Canada Water.
Okay.
I think Rob Soski now, he competed at ADCC.
Okay.
Back when, you know, you just do 2 matches and then you're fighting some Brazilian guy.
Yeah,
like
serious things.
See, them days where you get your leg broken in a sports hall for nothing.
And walk it off.
Yeah. So that's the lineage that my coach came from, and they didn't do belts.
Right.
It was just literally more or less what catch wrestling is like. And Ash and him had trained together in that same place. I think Soski now is in Poland hunting deer. Like, he doesn't even have social media.
Right, okay.
Like, he's
off the grid. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of them kind of guys, right? So when I came on after training, Ash is weird, right? He's like the sensei in a kung fu movie. You think he's not watching you, but he is.
Oh, is that right? He's one of them.
Yeah. Like you won't look. You see him. He'll teach a technique for 10, 15 minutes. Then we're going live, and everyone's rolling. And you think this guy's not even watching me, and then he comes. "You've been training for a while, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah. How'd you know?" Yeah. And then he started recognizing things that I've done. He said, "Okay, well, what belt are you?" I said, "I don't have one." So, following week, after class, he gives me a belt. Now, I think it's blue. Most people think it's purple. I'm not sure. I think I'm a blue belt. But everyone else that's seen the belt thinks it's purple. And I don't want to, because I don't want to bother Ash and ask. But let's just say I'm a blue belt. Let's just say.
One of them, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I saw it on social media. I'm like, I don't know what colour that belt is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not making this up. It's hard to tell with the belt. Because Chris in the gym swears that it's a purple.
Chris
Yam Power, the guy.
He's been on here, friend of the show.
He swears that it's a purple.
Is that right?
Yeah, he says there's no way that you're a blue. You don't roll like a blue. But then sometimes I say, "Oh, shut up. That's why you're a blue belt."
Yeah.
Then other times like, "But you're not really a blue belt." I'm like, what am I? I don't know.
But here's the thing, I got a theory on this. You know, like some people go, "Oh, sandbagger should be a higher belt." I don't mind that because I think it raises the level of the sport.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So I'd rather you be like, not you necessarily, but I'd rather someone who's like a good blue belt be a blue belt than be sort of a purple belt and you go,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
We've had purple belts come in here before, heavyweights, and I've completely molested them.
Yeah, right. And
No
it happens,
diddy.
doesn't it? It happens. Like I won't tell it again. I've told this story here many times. But when I was a purple belt, I was on a mat one day. Well, I'm going to tell it now. And I said, too late. But like, there was about 7 purple belts on the mat, and you know what it's like. We're all looking at each other like, purple belt, and there was all good rolls, except there was a weak link in the chain. One of the purple belts, you know, when you go, I didn't give you a blue belt, bro. Like, we're getting a
You
purple
know when you
belt.
lie on your CV.
You know when you go, I don't know.
We have to check this,
Yeah,
man.
I don't know.
I remember this one time, right? So I was I had many stages where I would do certain things and I would stop. So like, I was looking for, because I did Krav Maga for a bit.
Okay.
Right? I don't beat up children or unarmed women. But I did. Anymore. But no, I did, there's a guy, shout out to Stuart McGill. He's a non-Zionist Krav Maga instructor.
I owe Stuart a phone call. Shout out Stuart McGill. I got 4 missed calls from him. I got to call Stuart back. We're getting him on the podcast. Yeah.
So he had a guy that taught under him, Urban Krav Maga.
Okay.
Urban Krav Maga was tied to Leo Negal.
Yep.
So I did Urban Krav Maga for a long time. And a lot of the grappling, obviously, is Leo Negal's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu influence. So that was, I think, the most grappling I had before I joined KO Gym, in between my time away from Lions Pride, right? Now, I went into, there was a mosque, but there were some guys, I think they were affiliated, I don't know what gym they were affiliated to, but they would come down there and do BJJ.
Okay.
So I turned them and said, I just wanna watch, I wanna try Jiu Jitsu, and they were like, oh, okay. They were look at us in our keys.
We're better than you because we wear geese type vibe.
Yeah. And like, they had a guy who was like my size preparing for competition. I said, listen, I don't want to roll with anybody. I just want to watch. You know, we need the numbers. Would you mind just joining in? So you just lie down. He's going to go into side control. Do you know side control? I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay. Now, when the bell goes, okay, you have to try and escape. He has to stay on top of you. And when the second bell goes, you know, he has to try and submit you. Or maybe if you reverse it, you could submit him. Oh, no, you can't. So the bell goes. 2 seconds later, I've reversed it. I'm strangling him with his gi. Oh, okay, but that was quite fast. I guess he wasn't expecting you to be that.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready, guy.
We went again. Same speed, same submission. Again, same speed, same submission. I said, okay, now let's go the other way. You get side control, and then he has to reverse it. Probably think he's going to pull off some spaghetti leg nonsense. Guess what happens? Immediately as the bell goes, I'm strangling with his gi. Right? Keep it in mind, my last time manipulating a gi was like as a kid doing Kosen Judo. Yeah, I had no preparation. These guys have been training for years, consistently, or months at least consistently. I've just come off my sofa, right? Now, this guy makes me roll with 2 other people. And you know what it's like when you haven't done gi for a long time? Blood starts to fill your fingers. When I have the cramps, then he now decides to take me on. And of course, he's a fucking guard puller.
Oof.
And then,
How dare he?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I hate guard pullers.
You join the club, my man. Join the club.
Hate God. Listen, I hope lightning strikes you.
I think we should outlaw it. Should we outlaw it now? We'll start a petition today.
100%. Like,
Get a sheet of paper.
My daughter just went for competition recently, and like, this girl pulls guard. She passes the girl's guard. The girl pulls her back in her guard. She passes the girl's guard. The girl pulls guard again, and then the time goes, and they give it to the girl. I'm like, how? In a real fight, that. Anyway.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
The fuck is that? Like realistically, if I'm on top of you on concrete, are you comfortable?
No.
What kind of nonsense are you? This is not jiu-jitsu. This is not what the Gracies did. This is definitely not what the samurai did. It should be outlawed. But I'm good at passing guard, so it's fine. Then I wasn't so good.
Yeah.
So, eventually the guy manages to armbar me. After I'm already exhausted from beating up 3 or 4 of his students. And I left and I said, I'm never coming back to that school again. They're a bunch of cunts. All right. And then, like, from there, I just bounced around different places. I did Filipino martial arts. I actually still do it. I've trained Filipino martial arts consistently for about 13, 14 years, just because, knives, right? You want to be able to,
Right.
And also, I find that it doesn't get a good, it gets a bad rap. People will mix it. Like, people will watch The Bourne Identity and say, oh, that was really realistic. But that was all Filipino martial arts. That wasn't, Like, I think when you train one thing that works, you can even train traditional stuff and make it work. I've seen in Lions Pride, there was a guy called Kung Fu, right? I think his real name was Gavin. And
Don't quite have the same impact.
And he did Wing Chun since he was a kid.
Right.
But he was now doing MMA. And I saw him drop an amateur boxer using Wing Chun. So, like, there are guys out there that can make this shit work. We all, nightclub bouncers from, like, the 80s and 90s were doing karate and kung fu and putting multiple people in hospital. So it can be done if you spar. So, like, I love martial arts so much that if I see someone teaching something weird, I will give it a try just so, I've met guys that do Sistema, the Russian.
Yeah, of course,
I mean, that's a bit beyond me. I'm not going to lie. I can't quite get, I've met a guy and I met him in a park in Tooting, of all places, and he told me to stab him. He had like a training knife, and I tried like 6, 7 times, and every single time ended more painfully and more embarrassing than the last. Like, he had me in some kind of lock, and then he did this thing. He hit me in the neck, and I went blind for a few seconds. I was like, I didn't even know that shit was possible.
Yeah.
So
I do think there's good bits in all things. It's
100%.
the problem is when like some of these things, there's some goofy aspects to it as well.
100%.
And like they believe in all of it, and that's when you go. Do you know what I mean? But I'm a big believer in that. You got to spar. You said it earlier.
You have to spar.
You have to. If you're sparring, I think there's a lot of things that can work.
100%.
You can make a lot of things work, but you got to test it. You got to do it right properly.
Do you remember back? Okay, finally, you've been watching MMA long enough to remember this. Do you remember when people used to laugh at oblique kicks?
Of course, mate. People used to laugh at calf kicks when they first come out
Yep.
as well.
Remember when they said that, like, because it was only the Krav Maga guys and the Jeet Kune Do guys doing oblique kicks. They said, "Oh, that wouldn't work." Whereas I'm like, "Are you mad? I've done that to someone, and it worked." And now all of a sudden they're crying that it should be banned, right?
But the trick is knowing when to do it, right?
Exactly.
You can't come out going, right, I'm going to bleed. Because there's other things that you're going to run into.
Yeah, you're going to run into all kinds of stuff. But then
true.
I've met like army guys. Like I've met like army guys who do the jobs that like you can't talk about openly, right? I've been privileged to meet a couple of them. And the things that they train, they do a lot of boxing, wrestling stuff too. But the things they fill the gaps with are things that guys from these gyms would laugh at. But when someone does it to you, like, oh shit, what the hell was that? Because think about it, if you're kicking down the door to grab a suspect, you don't want to pull him into your guard and then start.
Don't grab
this. No, you want to do something to him quick, like immobile, and you might not have the space to throw like a proper boxing style combination because there's no space. So there are things that people can do that will work.
There are. So and do you know what's funny? You mentioned Krav Maga earlier. A good friend of mine, he's brown belt in Jiu Jitsu as well. He does some Krav Maga, and I've taught some grappling at his events and whatnot. And like I've done some sparring with the Krav Maga guys, and it's like, we've got a rubber knife or a wooden knife and stuff like that, and it changes dynamics,
100%.
right? And it's also what was really cool. I can't remember specifics, but there's certain like different weapons and stuff like that. So for example, like one was a stick. Now, if a stick's touching you, no big deal. But if one's like, it's meant to be a real blade, it can't touch it. And like, it changes dynamic and all of that kind of stuff. We spar in full pelt, but obviously the knife's not a real knife, right? So you've got the freedom to, touch with it, shit, reset, go again. Yeah. But when you do that kind of stuff, and like there were scenarios where you'd leave the knife on the floor, you've got like a rucksack in your hand, ready, go. And it's like, there's
so
really
I still go for stuff like that now.
Yeah.
Because people ask me why I train. Like even Brad always loves, says he wishes that the heavyweights he's had trained as often as I do as a hobbyist. Because when I'm not gigging on tour, I'm here pretty much every evening and sometimes in the morning, and I'll give anyone a good go. Obviously, I get beat up a lot, but I don't care. I love it.
Yeah, we all do. Everyone does, right? Everybody does.
There's a word for people like retard. Yes, but I love it. Like, I'll come in for the boxing. So, and there's tribes. So some guys only do jiu-jitsu. Some guys only do boxing, only do MMA. I try and do everything a couple of times if I can.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I try.
But I tell you what's interesting there, what you said about hobbyists, that someone that's but obviously so into it. People like yourself will, I believe, from looking over the years, they're the ones that develop the most because you don't have the same sort of like, I've got to fight in 6 weeks, I have to win. Do you see what I'm saying? You're happy to come in and get beat up a bit, and you're not beat up, but like, it's not the winning is not that important. You come in and do it, and that's it.
And I think, like, for example, like a lot of people admire fighters, but I admire coaches because I teach kids. I teach my kids.
Yeah, right.
And like, there's certain guys I love because I can tell that we have similar personality traits. Like, for example, Matt Hume. You can tell that he's like a nerdy guy that I'm sure when he started training, everyone thought he was nuts with the things he experimented with. But that was okay because he knew what he was. Eric Paulson is another one. Eric Paulson, Wing Chun, Filipino martial arts, Silat, Muay Thai. He combines it all and he teaches his guys and he sees validity. You look at guys online like Jack Slack, who will show you hand trapping techniques in boxing and then link it to an older martial art that has a similar concept.
Right.
John Jones, a lot of these guys, Anderson Silva, Israel Adesanya, a lot of these guys look at very unorthodox sources to get their techniques.
Right.
Then use them. Where do you think John Jones got the oblique kick? What Muay Thai gym teaches that?
Yeah. It's not Muay Thai, is it?
No, it's not. That's blatant like Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do influence. But because some guys think only Muay Thai boxing. What about Chinese kickboxing, Sanda? What about Chinese boxing, Shui Jiao? There's so many cool martial arts out there.
There are.
And people limit themselves. Especially new MMA fans that think they know everything. MMA is so young that there is a guy that's going to do a limb destruction on someone's arm in the middle of a fight. And I know that can be done because I've pulled one off in MMA, in Muay Thai sparring. I'm not saying I'm a good fighter or whatever, but I like to experiment with things.
Yes.
And I remember in Filipino martial arts, we got taught a limb destruction. And I thought, that would work on a jab. So guess what? KO Gym, sparring a guy who had regular matches. He was like a B, C class fighter. Yeah, he was getting me with the calf kicks, but I was focused like, he's going to throw a jab and I'm going to destroy that arm. Not completely, but I'm going to go for it.
You're going to go for it, right?
And I did it. And if I wanted to, that he would have gone home with only one arm that day.
Right.
But it worked.
Yeah,
So like when you think about self-defense and competition martial arts, the guy who competes will always be tougher than the guy who doesn't. But the guy who competes and has an open mind becomes very dangerous because that's why John Jones is terrifying. He hired a Taekwondo coach to learn one kick.
Yeah. But I think that's a great way to do things.
Yeah.
You don't need to learn Taekwondo as a whole. Show me that. Show me that
Be
one.
like water, my friend.
Who said
Take
that?
what
Someone
works.
else said that before, I think, right? Yeah. We're coming to it. But it's interesting you said it, but body types come into it too.
100%.
Because, like, for example, I've had this conversation with other people, and they've said, like, there are people that are my weight that are 6'4", there are people that are my weight that are 5'2". Now, them different body types, we've got to do things different, right?
Absolutely.
It's not going to work the same. Different length. I've been told I've got long limbs for my height. Long legs, sorry, not long limbs. Not long limbs. Long legs for my height.
Long appendages.
Short upper body and, like, you can take that or leave it, right? It's one of them things that I think you can also overthink, and I have at times. But like someone says that to you, you don't necessarily need to know, but other little sort of subtleties of things, you can make it work for you.
For you, 100%.
Versus coach says do it this way, we have to do it this way, only way.
And that's
best already
coaches,
a mistake to me.
100%. And I think the best coaches are the ones that acknowledge the difference between, like Ash is brilliant because I have my body type, I have things that work for me.
Yeah.
And he doesn't tell me to do it differently. Like, that works for you. You can pull, like, for example, there are some submissions that are low percentage. Doesn't mean they're low percentage for you.
No.
Like, we've got a guy here called Archer, and he catches people with twisters almost every...
Does he?
Yeah.
And but for anyone who doesn't know, twisters are a very technical move.
Very, very weird.
Very hard to catch someone with.
But he can do it.
You can do it.
Right? Also, there are outliers. For example, I can Imanari roll.
Yeah. Is that your thing? Are you an Imanari guy?
Recently, I've been doing it a lot,
yeah.
right? And like, because I like, when I roll with smaller guys, I don't use strength. I completely flow. I don't believe in bullying smaller guys, and I think it's pathetic. If you're rolling with a smaller guy, like if someone catches me with a sweep, I give the sweep. Because if you were my size, maybe that technique would have worked.
Yeah.
It helps you work. Also, it helps me think of things that aren't the norm. I'm very rarely on the bottom when I'm going against guys my size.
Right.
Yeah. But when I'm going against smaller guys, I always will, if someone shoots a takedown, I'll give them the takedown.
That's, yeah.
Because I need to know how it feels. I need to simulate it. Because my brain, if I train hard enough, if I meditate hard enough on what I'm doing, my brain can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
And that helps me in the long run.
Right.
Whereas there's guys that come into a gym and they're big, and they just want to get into side control and crank all the small guys' necks.
Yeah.
And I feel that's a waste. Same thing with the striking. I love to strike with smaller guys because I don't fight them like I'm a big guy. I fight like I'm the same size as them.
Yeah, right.
So even if I lose the spar, it doesn't matter.
No.
I'm learning to get quick. Why? Because every big guy that spars me says, fuck, you're fast for a guy your size.
Yeah.
Hence being able to Imanari roll.
But it's important, like what you say, like that people miss, right? When you come in here, what's the idea to come in here? To get better, right? Like this ain't the UFC title fight. You ain't got to win every round. Now it's easier said than done. Sitting here, it's easy. But like we all got egos, right? We all get out there and stuff. But one of the big things, like for me, we mentioned earlier, guard. I never ever pull guard and stuff like that. But one thing I'm really trying to be conscious of lately is being in guard and just working from there. Do you see what I mean? Because I think it's a beneficial, because you're going to be there at times, right? But it's like
it's going to happen.
I don't want to put myself there, but sometimes you can't stop yourself being there. And I feel like it's so important to train to get better, which this sounds really dumb now saying it out loud, doesn't it? But like the idea of training is to get better in it and not to win every second of every round. Don't get me wrong, you're preparing for something, you got to win them rounds too. But there is a big element of development, and when you are against people that are a lot smaller than you or lower level, etc., to me, they're the times you got to work at, and it seems like you figured it out a long time ago, my man.
I mean, again, I'm a bit of a nerd, so like, I look at, for example, I always loved Anderson Silva because I see him as a thinking man's fighter, right?
People forget how good he was as well.
Yeah, these people don't understand. There will never be another Anderson Silva because he was light years ahead in many ways, not just one.
Well, someone recently said about Israel Adesanya was the best middleweight of all time. And I almost threw up. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You forget Anderson in his day.
Yeah.
You know?
it's like when people say Floyd. Anyway, let me not even go there. But like,
No, we're gonna go there. We're going there.
you know, like how you gonna when there's boxers like Muhammad Ali, when there's boxers like Sugar Ray Robinson, who had more knockouts than Floyd has fights, how can you say Floyd was the greatest of all time? Sugar Ray Robinson had 102 fights before he had a loss. So he had 72 fights before he had a loss. Then had another 30 fights before his next loss. But because, recency bias, right? But you look at Anderson Silva, his training in all the old tapes of his training camps, he put himself in the worst possible position.
Right.
And started from there. And I like that because in Silat, Penchak Silat that I mentioned before, the same thing. There's so many styles, it's an umbrella term, but the particular style that we were being taught, you put yourself in the worst possible situation. And the aim of the spar isn't to win, it's to last and to see possible solutions. So one might be that you're on the floor and the other person is armed. Then eventually it can go to being 2-on-1 sparring, but obviously not 100%. And you try and figure out a puzzle. Or even sweeping games where you're being attacked while on the floor by multiple people. You have to sweep 2 if you can. Once they're swept, they stay down. It was a game that we would play. Or like one of my other teachers, when we did Filipino martial arts, we trained, or like when we did combatives as well, the military combative stuff, we would train in the dark. Because reality is, you're going to defend yourself in the dark.
Complete dark, or you can see a bit?
You can see a bit. So like we'll simulate like evening at a tram stop or train stop, right? Because that's where it's going to happen.
Right.
And weird positions, weird postures, because sometimes the floor is slippery, right? And I like that mentality being taken into things like MMA, for example, things like boxing. So Anderson Silva would, he was one of the first MMA guys to do this, where, he would start his rounds where he was already mounted. He would start his rounds where he was already... So when he was in the fight, he was already comfortable in those positions. He would
call nothing, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Muhammad Ali was a brilliant example as well with his rope-a-dope.
Yeah.
And, like, now I've got 2 kids. My older daughter's 11, and she's quite big for her age. I wonder where she gets that from. And
must be the mother.
Yeah, so she's pretty big for her age.
Right.
So because of that, she has to roll with kids that are, she's 11, she's having to roll with kids that are 14, 15.
Right, okay.
And there's one who is, if you put her against a 14-year-old that just started training 2 years ago, my daughter will absolutely kill that child. But this is a 15-year-old who's been training since they were about 6. So it's like every time, it's just not if my daughter will get taken down, submitted, but how long she can survive for.
Right.
And she hates it. And I'm like, no. I told her, I'm not having you train to be the best child athlete. I'm having you train to make sure that in the future you can defend yourself. And should you choose to pursue competition, you're prepared for the worst. This girl is older, stronger, and more experienced than you. So stop worrying about whether or not you win. Embrace the fact that you're in a bad position and see how long you can frustrate her for.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to look at things for all of us. Forget just kids. I think that's a great way. And like for an 11-year-old girl to be training at all is a major thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's a funny age for girls, and like to have to, she's got a dad who's into it, and because that's another point as well. And I'm jumping around here, but like that one thing that drives me mental is when a dad's coaching their kid and they don't know, they've never done it. Like I've coached kids. Like one-on-one sessions, like, and their parents are there, and they're
get up, Charlie, get up.
Turn this way. Whoa, shut up. Leave off. Like I'm teaching. You know what I mean? It's like, but to be in a situation where you are in a bad spot, you can't always win, can you? Now, because you've got advantage. You're on top of me. You've got my back. Whatever the situation, to coach your way out of that is not always at the forefront to me. No. Like what you're saying, sometimes it's about being comfortable being there, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know
being comfortable being there, survive. And it's something that, because again, I get to roll free, and I have the blessing of being in a gym like GB Top Team, especially on Mondays when all like the big heavyweights come in who have wrestling backgrounds. They're all like, there's a lot of black belts, purple belts, former wrestling champions. I have a nemesis at this gym, lovely guy. He's been a purple belt for 7 years. So you would have talked about sandbagging.
You have to tell me who that is after 7 years.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck you, bro. Let's get the promotion already. So he's a purple belt for 7 years. He's also a former wrestling coach at a gym not far from here.
Right.
And he also lifts. So like, it's a real challenge for me. and you know, he at first we grappled where he would pin me and I couldn't escape. Now I even give him side control and I'm able to now throw him off me and escape. But like I had to build that. I had to get comfortable being crushed, get comfortable being smashed. And now, I mean, I'm not saying I always throw him off me. Sometimes
you just did. You said you always throw him off you.
Okay, so
you said every time. You said he got nothing for me, Ollie.
I tossed him across the damn gym. No, but like but it shows growth because it's like having a bench press. Like you except the bar is also trying to kill you.
Yeah.
It's like if he didn't pressure me like that, I wouldn't gain the benefits of having a partner like that. I've learned to embrace it. As long as you're not trying to injure me, like legitimately life-changing, I'm more than happy to roll with people that are much.
But it's the small victories too, isn't it? Like the small victories at the start could be like you have to tap from pressure in 3 seconds, you survive 10 seconds, and it just builds from there. Then you're not going to go from that to just pushing him off and standing up. That's never going to happen. That's a journey along the way, isn't it?
Like we had a guy when I was at KO gym, and his name was Hamza. He was much smaller than everybody, and they would make him do rounds because he was so small. There was a Polish guy at the gym that was always on gear, and he would smash everybody, whether they were women, children, disabled.
He was that guy, yeah. Disabled.
And it didn't matter. He'd pick you up out of your wheelchair and drop you on your head. He didn't care. And like that guy was about 90 kilos. Hamza, I think, was about 67, soaking wet. 6, 7. Anyway, so he would get crushed by him. I would not use full strength, but that kind of weight disparity, like, still was tough for him to deal with. So he goes to competition, and I think there was nobody in his weight class, so he got bumped up 2 weight classes. He gets a hold of this geezer in the category he's moved up to, snaps him down and submits him in 30 seconds. And he said, because I'm so used to being thrown around by you guys, that guy felt like paper. I said, there you go.
Yeah, I think that's understanding what you're training in, right?
Yeah.
This is not, you could be down on yourself for that, couldn't you? Because you've been held down by big lumps all day. But if you're taking that the right way, there's a massive benefit. There's also, it works the other way. I think there's benefit to going with little guys too.
100%.
Because listen, you can't replicate that speed. Sometimes you got, like, I'm sure you have. You spar with people, striking especially. They're moving. Yeah. If you try and keep up with them, you're just like running into a windmill, aren't you?
Yeah.
Let's settle down. Now I'm the big guy. I'm not a big guy, but like in terms of you put yourself in the right scenario, you can be, right? So when you take that speed, you're not taking the speed physically, but your mental speed's picking up, if you like. When you go with a bigger guy, suddenly it's like, okay, I can use this now. Now it's not that easy. It doesn't mean it's going to work straight away, but you get where I'm coming from. 100%.
Right? Like I've had that. So like I rolled with a heavyweight last night who loves to smash smaller guys, and he was avoiding me, and I actually yelled, like, you can't run from me forever. Right? And
out at him in the gym.
Yeah. And all the small guys like, yeah, get him now, get him,
big man.
Yeah, he's a juice head as well. Anyway. Which is fine. He's over 40 TRT, if you want to call it that. So I only take a little bit, bro. I can see your abs through your jacket.
You got veins coming out everywhere.
Come on. So anyway, we rolled together. I even gave him the top position, and like afterwards, he said that like it's not just that you're strong, but you're very fast. You're very explosive and quick. And I think the only thing I can attribute that to is having fair rolls with small guys. I will never be as fast as you, but if I can be fast enough to trouble you, that's okay. And then like with the boxing as well, like maybe it's because my dad's a communist, but he is. My father lived in the Soviet Union for over a decade.
Whoa. That's a side story and a half. How does that come about?
Yeah, so at the time, the Soviet Union...
Or is that classified? We can't talk about it.
Oh, no, it's okay, Tavarish. So at the time, Russians were flying over people from like Africa and Asia and the Caribbean, and they were giving them free education. So my dad's a medical doctor.
Right.
He's retired now, And they were flying them over, I think it was to counter colonialists. The Cold War, they were trying to be, I'm better than the West kind of thing. Right. And my dad was in Russia for that long. He studied medicine, got to practice medicine in the Soviet Union.
That's a hell of a story.
Yeah, like they used to walk up to him and do this to check if the black came off him.
Did they really? Yeah. It doesn't surprise me, actually.
Yeah. But like he had a good time out there. He enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So like again, like and my dad's also very familiar with the Soviet way of training and this because my dad boxed.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is. I've always kind of been drawn to. I mean, I kind of wish he went to Cuba instead. I'd be so much cooler with a Cuban dad. But I know I have no problem with nobody, man. Coño. But like I love how like the Russians and Ukrainians box, and I love how the Cubans box.
Right.
There's a rhythm to it. There's a movement. Obviously, Cubans do with a bit more, pizzazz.
Cubans even on another level of like that sort of like how it's like a beautiful to look at, and it's like a. I mean, elegance might be the wrong word, but you get where I'm coming from.
I think elegance
There's
is the perfect
something to
word.
it when you watch a Cuban do his drills, especially, where you just go like, that just looks right, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It looks like the way through. But I've got a bit of a fascination with like the old school Soviet training, like not just boxing. I'm talking about like the old school,
even the strength training.
right? The plyometrics, the climbing the ropes. I love all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of my strength work now is roughly framed on like a Soviet wrestler's kind of training.
Mate, we've got to have a workout.
Yeah,
Me
so
too.
like I've got
We've
like
got to have a workout.
my kids also like because again the Soviet method you train from young.
Yeah.
'Cause I think the best thing you can do is get your children physically as strong as possible.
In a general
General
sense,
strength, and then obviously the manuscripts they will look at things to decide what sport the kid should
when
do.
they get to a certain age. I
Yeah,
think, right?
so
When
they
you
look
get-
at the length of the forearms,
Right.
the shoulders, and they decide if you're a gymnast, wrestler, boxer.
Right.
And that's why a lot of Soviet boxers now, I mean, I don't want to offend anyone with the term Soviet with what's going on now, but fuck it, Soviet, former Soviet boxing nations, you find that the boxers have a wrestling background.
Yes.
And they use a lot of wrestling exercises.
Usyk trains wrestling
Every
still.
Tuesday.
Have you seen? Yeah, mad. Like
Better
it's
BF
so
too.
obvious. It's so obvious when you think about it, right? Because that general thing. I'm a big believer in that. You shouldn't specialize a kid until they're a certain age, right?
That's why my kids do multiple combat sports.
Right.
So like my oldest one represents all of Sari in judo. She's competed in freestyle wrestling, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu.
And it's a bit like, I know I've said it before, but for a girl, I think that's amazing because it's like that sets you up for life, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like them kind of things, I believe in that. I really believe in that.
And she's been at it since 3.
And she's 11 now, you said.
She's 11.
Mate.
Yeah, and my
Don't break in that house. Wrong house. Wrong house.
yeah. I mean, I haven't even
Go
told
next
you.
door.
I haven't even told you about my wife. You know what I mean? And then like my younger one, who's the naturally more aggressive of the 2 kids.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. She's just starting judo now.
Right.
And she's wrestled as well. She's competed in wrestling.
Wrestling to me is king of sports.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
I believe I really like being around like Eastern Bloc wrestlers. I feel like that is the king of sports.
I mean, what I'll say though, this controversial opinion, especially now, but I think the kings of wrestling are the Iranians.
yeah.
One, like I was on the mat. We have a lot of Iranian wrestlers here in this gym.
Yeah.
I saw these guys wrestling, right? And like, it looked like, when Wing Chun guys do like that,
Yeah,
where
flows.
cheese out,
Yeah.
and then boom, someone's taken down,
Yeah.
and they're laughing the whole way through. I was like, these guys have to be Iranian.
And they were.
They were.
Yeah.
Like, if you see the best of the Russian wrestlers, the best of the Chechens and Dagestanis, they wrestle like Iranians.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, right? I went to Bulgaria years ago. Like
My Katideba, sorry.
Right. hey. But like for training, right? And like when I was there, it was the week before. I think it's called Dan Kolov, the tournament.
Were you
Maybe
with
someone heard of it.
Lyubov?
Lubo
Kubarov?
Komborov? Absolutely. You know Lubo?
He's a friend of a friend.
That's my guy. I've trained with him for years.
He's
my guy.
my brother's. He's met my brother,
Ah.
my older brother, and his best friend.
Yeah.
So like we actually want to plan a Bulgarian holiday.
I've been there with him, so I did
yeah.
this, right? And Lubo's, aside from being a top wrestler himself, he's one of these people that's one of the best coaches I've ever... like, forget what he's teaching, just in terms of how he gets it across,
The
makes
knowledge,
you understand.
biomechanics.
He's unbelievable guy. I can't say enough good things about Lubo. But when we was there, we was training. I think it was called a Dan Kolov tournament, which is like an international tournament, which obviously we weren't in. But he took us training there. We experienced it. We trained with some people. And then like the tournament was going on, so we got to see, like after we trained, we got to see like the real internationals go. Now, I missed the actual tournament. I'd flown home. But there was like Sadulayev. You know Sadulayev?
Yep.
Abdulrashid.
Yeah, that was literally what I was gonna say. Sadulayev wrestles like an Iranian.
Right. This is what I'm
That
coming on to.
relaxed.
We're on the same wavelength,
yeah.
because he said like the week after he was there, he showed me some clips and whatnot, but I didn't see it in person, which I regret now. But he said he was there, like all the other guys were like training, sweating, warming up. Like between matches, he'd go pin someone, he'd go on the side, be reading a book, no stress in the world. Time to go, cool, puts it down, gets up, flows again, pin again. And he said it was just like, he was on such another level to everybody else, it wasn't even funny. And when you watch him wrestle, first of all, I think they say his stats, he's like 5'10", he's like 100 kilos tank of a man, right? But it's like that. It doesn't look like he's forcing anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because the best martial artists I've met in any regard, they've all, so when I did Filipino martial arts with a guy, a Sikh man named Hacharan Singh, and he also had an interest in wrestling because in the Punjab of India and so on, they have a strong wrestling culture there.
Big time,
Yeah, they inherited it from the Persians, the Persian clubs and
yeah.
all of that stuff. And that, I think, strongly influenced the way he taught martial arts. And he had so many drills where he used to teach us to just be weightless. I know, ironic, right? He would teach us to be relaxed. And how, when it came to handling a weapon, you had to be relaxed. So, like, a lot of people show a blade and they think, that's why many people survive. God, you can edit this out, but a lot of people survive machete attacks because the person with the machete is using force. But true power in a blade comes from zero energy, where you relax and you slice through. Same way, every time I've ever hurt somebody badly with a shot, it's the punch that felt like you hit nothing.
Right.
Especially when you catch someone in the chin, because you're hitting through someone, right?
Right.
But it's the same thing even with a lot of wrestling techniques where when you know how to collapse your weight, relax and tense. If you're tense the whole way through a wrestling match or any kind of grappling match, you just exhaust yourself.
Yes, yeah.
When you relax and become dead weight, then tense. Anything you do, because even things like the drop step, it's in boxing, it's in wrestling, it's in Wing Chun, it's in anything, right? That sudden tension is only powerful if you were relaxed before you became tense. So like once he taught us that, I started seeing that in so many people that I watched. So for example, there's a guy who's teaching, he coaches near called Kieran Walker Davis, right?
Okay.
He's 6'5", he's same sort of build as me, if not bigger. Fastest guy in the gym.
Is it? Yeah.
You stand in front of you.
6'5", big problem. We got a big problem. It's one of them. He walks in. You got boys.
Terrified.
We got a problem.
He can, Sanchez cartwheel kick.
Yeah,
he
does
can do that.
He's in the Sancho.
He'll stand and his guard was there, and like he would let you take the shot. He'd parry your shot and hit you 4 times before your hand go back to your guard.
What's his name?
Kieran Walker Davis, Kieran Monster Davis. He had a few like local Muay Thai fights and stuff, but now he's more into coaching.
Right.
Still, by far, to me, one of the most impressive strikers I've ever seen, just because his biology, his physics, what he can do, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but it's funny you say that, right? And it's like, we all, like, training obviously gets you a lot of things, but I do believe the older I get, there is something as well. It's like, call it what you want, the God factor, natural, whatever. Some people have just got it, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? Like
outliers.
Some people, you look at them and you just, like, there's a guy I sparred boxing yesterday with a guy called Lewis Adolphi. Shout out Lou, good mate of mine. I've known him about 20 years. We used to box in the amateur together. He was head and shoulders above everyone else in the club, national champion multiple times. Just, one of these guys that's just got it. And when he sparred yesterday, you're about half a round in and you go, I forgot this. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of them.
I could have been playing table tennis.
Do you know what I mean? You know when you go, fuck, I forgot how hard this is going to be. I've got 5.5 rounds left. But he's, but obviously, listen, the man's trained like a savage all his life too. But he's one of them guys that moves a certain, you can't put your finger on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's something about the way this man moves in front of you and you go,
yep.
It's different.
And the thing is, sometimes you can't see it until, if you're uninitiated, you can't notice it. But when you are, so like for example, I remember when Tyson Fury squared up to Usyk for the first fight, and I wrote in the comments, Usyk's going to beat Fury for a number of reasons. One, the tangible reasons, for example, if you study his game, you know that Fury's biggest advantage a lot of the time was he could use a lot of energy because he had the perfect strategy to rest, which was the clinch. He would clinch and hold Usyk or hold his opponents and put his weight on them. Now, without even researching, I knew Usyk wrestled. It was obvious from the way he moves. But also, when Usyk picked Fury up, he used wrestling technique. Because in the weigh-ins, I said, because he's not, Tyson Fury can't match his work rate, and the clinch will not work because Fury wrestles. Oh, fuck off, man. This is boxing, not wrestling. I'm like, okay, we'll see. And we saw how that fight went. Right? I have had to be educated to see that. When I was just a casual fan of sports, I didn't see that.
Right.
The same way I knew from watching that Moses Itama is right-handed. He's a right-handed southpaw.
Converted, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see
because again, if you've done Jeet Kune Do, any of these traditional martial arts, or any weapon art, they make you lead with the weapon hand first.
Judo's the other way around too.
Yeah,
When you do judo, you lead with your strong hand.
Your strong hand. So like you see, like you could see certain things like now. Even Usyk, I think, is actually right-handed, the same as Lomachenko. I don't think he's a real southpaw. and that's even more dangerous.
It's interesting you say that. Mike Tyson was the other way. Mike
Yeah,
Tyson
he was a lefty.
natural southpaw,
Yeah.
converted to... And there's
And
something
that's
to that,
terrible.
isn't it? There's something to that.
Yeah, because their most powerful weapon is right.
It's there.
And you're not even paying attention to it because you're worried about that.
Right.
And even if you know, it's easy. Jimmy Manuel was the same.
Was he?
Jimmy Manuel was a lefty.
Was he?
Jimmy Manuel was a lefty.
Right.
I said, why do you... But the thing is, there was no thought process behind him fighting Orthodox.
He just felt better that way.
I just asked him, so why do you fight Orthodox if you're Southpaw? He said, that's how I was taught, innit?
Ooh.
You know what you're saying?
But you know what? There's something too, I think, sometimes of doing things the way that feels right.
Yeah.
Like ignorance is bliss almost. Do you know what I mean? It's
100%.
like, why'd you do it that way? I don't know, it feels better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you build from there. Like Jimmy Manuel, I don't know Jimmy personally, but I used to train in a strength and conditioning gym and he used to go in there and do his strength and
Yeah,
conditioning.
he was a unit when he was younger, man.
Mate, what a lump that guy is. Like, I remember looking at him. I think he was sort of around the time he was getting ready to fight Rumble Johnson.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, firstly, how's he going to make that weight? He's enormous. But, like, you know when you're watching someone train and you're just like, they look like they're at the peak of their powers and you know, it's like you look at them and you go like, now's their time. Anyway, side note. But
I got tapped by him lightly and saw the galaxy.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like-
you saw Tales of the Universe.
Yeah, like, you, again, I don't know how to say it without sounding like a weirdo, but like, you see energy transfer is a real thing. That's why, like, I don't know, when you were in school, were there ever any skinny kids that used to knock everyone out?
Yeah, of course there were. Yeah. Everyone knows them people, doesn't
Yeah,
they? Everyone
they
knows
couldn't
them people.
fight, but they were like Wilder.
Yeah.
They couldn't fight, but they had that
had that
connection.
thing,
Yeah. Jimmy, like, he has that, and I tell you who else has it. David Hay.
Right.
I shook hands with David Hay, and I felt forced. Like,
Did
he
you?
dislodged my shoulder when my shoulder was still back, because he just produces so much force naturally. Like, he may not have any other punch, but if that in his prime, people forget how scary David Hay's right hand was.
Yeah.
I will put it up there with Wilder's.
Yeah.
There's some people that just have a thing.
Well, everyone says that, don't they, about the freaky pattern. Do you know what? I was actually at a seminar at the weekend with Tony Bellew, who obviously fought me twice, right?
Oh, were you at the seminar?
I was there.
I literally watched the video of it.
I was there. Yeah.
Oh,
I was
wow.
there. I was there. He was cool as well, Tony. He was like, he's a very
Yeah.
chilled guy, very sort of to the point. Didn't overblow things in terms of like showing you a million techniques. It was just like that brilliant. Anyway, so but talking about David Hay, he was saying like the freakiness of his power. He said he was like legit. He caught him with something, and it was like. Don't need too many of them. You know what I mean? But anyway, we're all
very
going on.
honest.
Some people have got that, haven't they? Some people,
Yeah, you
and
can't
it's not
train
just
that.
Sometimes it's speed. Sometimes it's a certain way they move. But there is I do believe there is a certain element of natural, for whatever reason. You can put whatever label on and you want it, as we said, the God factor, universe, whatever, doesn't matter. There's something that people have, and I think you can be overcoached is what I'm trying to get at.
100%.
That takes that away from you. The Wilder is the best example.
Yeah.
Like Wilder.
Bomb squad!
Like, why Wilder was later in his career trying to learn to be like a typical boxer is beyond me. To me, is craziness. You know what I mean? I know it's easy to sit in now after he's had a few
hindsight,
losses,
yeah.
but and he's fighting on the weekend, isn't he? By the way, but he's
Yeah.
like in his prime. I will argue with people here, and it'd be interesting to hear your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when he was at his prime, I'm not saying he's one of the greatest of all time,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he's in the conversation as someone as like for the problem of that right hand. He would have been such a tough match for anyone because you've got to be ahead of him the whole way through
Yeah,
the
you
fight,
have to be
innit?
perfect the whole fight.
Yeah.
He just has to be perfect for a split second.
But him trying to land that, to me, I
Mm.
don't know, there's a bit more detail to what I'm going to say than the way I'm going to say it, but that should be plan A, B, C, D, on and on and on. Don't worry about
100%.
anything else. Worry about landing that right hand.
100%. Like, the thing is, yeah, there's only... Like, I don't think he's the hardest puncher of all time, but I think that right hand would be a problem anytime.
Right.
Yeah, there's guys that, like George Foreman, could consistently just... You know, every punch
Man,
was
George Foreman,
like with Wilder. You know, to be worried about the right hand. Whereas George Foreman, fucking.
What about everything? Yeah.
And then there's a guy that hit harder than Foreman, who was Ernie Shavers.
Shavers was a big one.
Yeah. Then there's guys like Sonny Liston, whose jab was like a right hand.
Yeah. Well, Sonny Liston as well. I spoke about this on here before. I'm a massive
Yeah.
fan of Sonny Liston.
Same.
Very underrated. But he's got some freaky dimensions too. You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, his
He's
reach.
got the longest reach for anyone in terms of relation to his body.
Yeah.
He's got the biggest fists ever in heavyweight
Yeah,
history.
16 inches.
Something crazy.
Yeah.
He's got like really freaky dimensions that like helped him.
How do you
his
train
thing.
for that?
It's hard, isn't
And
it?
also, how good is Ali? Because a pull counter on a guy that has a long reach
Dangerous.
is very
Especially a
difficult to
puncher
do.
like that. You know what I mean?
And he still managed to do it. That shows you how elite the footwork was. I mean, if we had more time, there's so anyway.
This episode 2 back. We'll do it again. We're sitting. We're talking about things.
But like you know, like because even in terms of like how again my old teacher used to say, at the highest level, every martial art is very similar. And there's things that he used to do and show us that every couple of weeks or months, a random martial art will have a quality that he showed us.
Yeah.
So like there's a picture of Ali doing like the start of a pull counter. He's dodging a punch and he's gonna obviously spring back into the right hand. And it's like we got taught the same thing in that teacher's class that was a traditional martial art. And then I've been taught the same thing in wrestling, where we're doing like, we're baiting someone in to do a duck under.
Yeah, right.
It's a footwork thing where you kind of load on your back leg, then spring off instantly, right? And it's like, it's mad how literally when you remove the politics and the ego, the stuff that works consistently looks the same throughout. There's no, like, obviously it's either striking or grappling. But like, if Sadulayev got jumped in a chip shop, he's not wearing his wrestling whatever. And then, you know, Ono or one of whoever the number one judo guy is now in the world got jumped in a chip shop, right? The techniques they used to defend themselves, you wouldn't be able to tell who the judoka is and who the wrestler is.
Yeah.
Same thing with, like, I went to watch the sumo live.
Okay.
Yeah, I joke about it. I'm in the Fat Boy Hall of Fame because I got sent free VIP tickets to watch the sumo when it was in the UK. Yeah, I'm like, wow, like I'm now.
I had a wrestler on here. Right?
Yeah.
Good.
So like, I went and I watched it, and I saw the guy pull off that Dagestani wrist. But to me, that looks like Aikido.
Yeah. Right.
Like Steven, that looks like something you see in a Steven Seagal movie.
Yeah.
Right? It is difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
And this 6 foot whatever, God knows how heavy guy did it to another 6 foot whatever, God knows how heavy guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then some of the moves I saw the sumo guys pull off, some of them look like wrestling moves. Like one of them did a flying back body drop on another guy.
Really, in sumo?
Yeah, he tried to do like a fireman's carry, it didn't work. So he jumped and flew backwards and landed on him.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, I saw all kinds of crazy techniques.
You can make it work, can't you?
Yeah.
If you use it at the right time. This is a mistake I think people make as well. And I know this is quite basic level, but like I see it too much in gyms, like when I'm coaching and stuff. It's like people are looking for something. And if you're looking for something, you never get it, right? Like, if you know, people are looking for the double leg. And, you know, it's like, it ain't coming off because they're forcing it. And they're not really getting to the technique. But like you said, even something that looks ridiculous, like an Aikido flick, can work if it's in the right place.
It's in the right place, right time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've come to the conclusion now that there's two types of, like, masters, right? You've got the guys that are master of one thing, and it's so good that either you're prepared for it or you're not.
Right.
And then you've got the Anderson Silvas of this world, who are just so good at so many things.
Yeah.
Anderson Silva was never the best jiu-jitsu guy in the UFC. I would argue he wasn't necessarily the best striker. He wasn't the best wrestler. But like, I remember when he was fighting Dan Henderson and he hit a switch.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Yeah, he did.
He shouldn't be able to do that. But he did.
Yeah.
Then I remember him fighting, you know, he fought, who was he? He fought Vitor Belfort. Caught him with a karate kick, right? He out wrestled wrestlers. He outstruck strikers. He knew enough about everything to be a threat everywhere.
He knew enough to threaten something else to make that possible.
And that's all same thing with John Jones. There's nothing John Jones does that he's ahead of everybody in, right? I don't think his wrestling is necessarily
Not
the
if it was
best.
pure wrestling.
Yeah.
If he was in a pure wrestling match, I think he'd run up against some problems.
And his striking isn't necessarily the best striking.
Not a massive punch or anything like that, no.
But he's a master of John Jones' fu.
Yeah.
Right?
It. It's true.
He makes
That's
it
a great
all
way
work
to put it. Yeah.
for him.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and he will add techniques he's not the best taekwondo guy, but he ended the fight with a taekwondo kick and it worked. So, but then on the other hand, you've got the guys like Khabib, Khamzat, you know, Conor McGregor mastered that left hand.
You know what's coming, can't do anything about it. That's a special skill.
Now, I don't know who's scarier.
It's tough. It's hard. Like someone like Khabib and now Khamzat, obviously. Like, if you look at his fight when he won the title, so overwhelmingly dominant, incredible, and he did nothing new in terms of like. If you'd have before the fight, you could have told DDP exactly what was coming, and he did it right. He basically did what every single person on the planet that knew what they was looking at thought he would do, and he's such a high level of it. The little subtle things he's doing, the little here, there's, and everything you don't see. I mean, to feel what it's like to be underneath him, I bet it's a hell of an experience because, like, if you watch how strong he is as well, like you know DC, people say he's less than 5'10". Built like a barrel. He puts his arm around, swings him round like I'd pick up a kid. Like, wee.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy strong.
And I'm like, you know, and that's the thing, like, because somebody was sort of laughing, oh, how can Alex Pereira be a black belt? Alex Pereira is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? But being a black belt as a motto is different from being a black belt that uses it. Like, that's their main thing. Like, Alex Pereira's left hook has been sending people to the shadow realm for how long? He's gotten so good at it. Everybody knows it's coming. Alex Pereira doesn't have but 3 techniques that you need to worry about. The calf kick, flying knee, and a left hook. Only one guy in the UFC has solved it. But look at the cost. Look at the price he paid.
And I do think a lot of that was weight drain on Alex Pereira's part too. Like, I think
100%.
He was. I think
But if he still won,
but he did. Of course, he did.
No, but
he
like-
did. But he's Alex Pereira is a special cat, isn't he? Like, I'm really excited about him going up to heavyweight too.
Because even a heavyweight, literally, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
What are you gonna
problem,
do?
isn't it?
What are you gonna do?
Huge problem.
Oh yeah, you're gonna shoot. Okay, go on, shoot then.
There's a reason other people ain't done that, right? There's a reason that hasn't been able to be done over and over again. Because, listen, at that level, you'd get exposed, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? You'd get exposed.
100%. But like, and the thing is, he knows enough to survive on the floor. He might not be. But all he has to do is make it to the next round.
Yep.
And then guess what?
Now I get another shot. I get another chance to throw.
You know what? It's one of those things where it's better for your career to have an average chin and fight Alex Pereira than for you to have a good chin and fight him. Because
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
you
Yeah.
see, because Izzy had a good chin and he suffered. Now Izzy's decline is off the back of those 2 fights.
Yeah. 4 in a row he's lost now, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
I mean, I was so angry the other night because he was winning.
he was looking good.
He damaged the guy's calf. He was landing shots, but then ego made him stand and trade. And there's the thing: before those Alex Pereira fights, he probably would have been able to stand and trade fine. But all that damage, it tallies up.
There's a lot. I wonder, with that as well. Like, the damage is obviously a part of it, but also, like, he was as cool as a cucumber before. He'd be willing to sort of be chill because he, like, in the back of his mind, it almost seemed like, and I can't speak for him, obviously, right? But it seemed like he knew he was going to win. Whereas this time, you might be reading too much into it.
No, my only chance.
I've got to win. Do you know what I mean? And like, that can change things, can't it? You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
And it's tough, man. It's a sad thing. Like, because the thing is, if he won this fight, maybe the next fight he'd be better. But now it's, I just hope that he doesn't hurt himself permanently. You know, and I say that as a casual fan, fat couch potato. All respect to him, but it's always sad to see. Like, for example, my favorite fight of all time is Fyodor Emelianenko.
Really? You said that right as well. Say that again.
Fyodor Emelianenko.
Oh, shout out to all the Russian fans.
Спасибо, товарищ. Иди нахуй. No,
Easy now, easy.
But like, was one of those guys that he's going to walk up to you calmly, then he's going to get you into a firefight. If he catches you with the right hand or left hook, you're going to sleep. If he grabs a hold of you, he knows he can take you down. If you take him down, he's good off his back.
The Kevin Randleman one.
Yeah,
the suplex.
God.
He got
You see
dunked on his
the
head.
expression on his face. Like, okay.
Didn't even move.
I'm being dropped on the head. It's okay.
Kamura's coming. No worries.
Yeah.
No problem.
Just absolute calm.
I do think people have their time in the sun too. Like, I'll always argue this, and people can have their own opinion. I'll always argue that in his prime, Mike Tyson was the best heavyweight of all time. For a very short window of time, you give me a look like you don't agree. Tell me.
I was starting to like you as well.
But listen, don't give me that breath out. Don't give me that big out breath.
Okay. What I'll say is this. What are you basing this opinion on?
If you could put him in a time capsule, when he
Which
was
version of Mike Tyson?
exactly 86 to 88, when he was at his peak of his
Who
power.
was the best person he beat at that time?
Everybody.
Name them.
Michael Spinks, Larry Holmes.
Cruiserweight. Out of shape, given 2 weeks to train.
Oh, okay, I can see where this is going. Every time you're going to go, no good, no good.
All I'm saying is this, yeah?
Yeah.
Put some respect on Muhammad Ali's motherfucking name.
Of course.
Because, let me show you why I don't... Muhammad Ali is so good that, okay, name the 10 greatest heavyweights of all time.
10. Well, you put me on the spot now. Okay, 10. Now,
Take your time. Take
no,
your time.
but here's the thing. When you said that, you said greatest. Notice I said best, right? And I'm not trying to be tricky and clever, but I'm talking about greatest. You can only be great for your era, right? Like, here's an example of what I'm saying. I'm not avoiding the question.
No,
but
10,
like-
okay, say 10 best of all time.
Okay, let's go. Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Sonny Liston, Rocky Marciano, Jack Johnson. I'm not trying to say that Jack Johnson from back in the day could beat some of the modern heavyweights, but for his time, how great he was at the time. You see where I'm coming from with that, right? So what have I got? 7 from there. Who else would be up there? Larry Holmes. God, he'd be way up there. Larry Holmes for sure. Larry Holmes. Klitschko, I think, needs a mention. Vlad, for what he did over his time. And Tyson Fury, I think, as well. Usyk, I'm leaving out. And the only reason I'm leaving Usyk out is because he's still in motion. Usyk's going to be...
Okay, so here's my what I put forth to you. Why I like the question is that no matter who your top 10 is, yeah, Muhammad Ali is so good that it's impossible to have a top 10 list of greatest heavyweight fighters and not name someone he beat.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, because somebody else will say, yeah, Joe Frazier, George Foreman.
George Foreman's in there. I miss George Foreman, didn't I?
Yeah,
George Foreman's in
Ken Norton, Sonny Liston.
Right? Here's a caveat to that. People will argue Ken Norton beat Muhammad Ali 3 times.
So, the only reason that these guys had losses is because, unlike our guys, they fought each other.
Yeah.
Look how long Tyson Fury hid from Usyk.
Do you think he hid from him?
100% he hid. Because it was only the Saudi paycheck that made him. He said it many times, I'm not going to fight him, I don't want to fight, I'm not going to fight, I'm not going to fight him. Even the Joshua fight, I'm going to catch flack for this. I don't think that fight, Joshua at his best, is as clear-cut as a lot of Fury fans think it is. Because, look at the things that Ngannou did. And keep in mind, I agree, Tyson Fury was out of shape. But the things Ngannou did the most that bothered Fury, Joshua does better. 1. 2, people say Joshua has no chin. Nobody who's ever hurt Joshua is not known to be a big puncher.
Yeah, not true. He does have a chin.
So Fury, I don't think hits hard enough to have been a real problem to scare Joshua. And I don't think Fury would have been elusive enough to be on his bike the whole fight and not get hurt. And I don't think his foul tactics would have worked on Joshua because Joshua was physically strong enough to push him off. Look what happened when Ngannou, who actually wrestles, tried to clinch with Joshua. How did that go? I'm not saying Joshua would have won, but I'm saying the reason why Fury stalled with that fight and waited for Joshua to lose fights or whatever is because he knew something we did not. I don't think they're scared of each other, but I think they're businessmen and they do, they know when it's good for business to strike.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts of it.
There's business people and then there's people that are dreamers. Joshua was a dreamer, so he threw himself into fights and he lost. Usyk is a dreamer too, but he hasn't lost because he's that good.
And listen, I admire the people that throw themselves in there and come up short. To me,
of
that's
course.
the way to be. Look at these greats from the history, like you said, they all beat each other.
Yeah.
Like the famous 4, right? The middleweights, right? They weren't all middleweights, but they all fought middleweight.
Thank you.
They, to me, that's the way it should be. Like
100%.
People's opinions.
I think if
not people's
Wilder,
opinions.
Fury, Joshua, Usyk, Dubois, if these guys all fought each other multiple times, everybody would take losses.
Yeah.
But because now Floyd Mayweather ruined boxing with the undefeated thing.
But Mayweather lost 2 fights, I think.
Yeah. He lost more than 2.
He lost to Chico and he lost to Maidana the first time.
Yeah, I even think Shane Mosley and Zab Judah, but that's, but like, because he has that, everyone values the O too much.
Yeah.
But all the best boxers, barring Marciano and was that Lopez, I think he was, most of them lost.
Yeah.
Right? Now, even now, if you want to have a modern understanding of how good Ali was, George Foreman, out of his prime, boxing against Evander Holyfield, took a beating from Holyfield and would not go down.
No.
Would not go down. But Holyfield said the shots that Foreman hit him with were like nothing he'd ever felt before.
Yeah.
He said he got knocked out on his feet and had to wake himself up, right? Ali, as an old man, ate that punishment and dropped Foreman. Holyfield could not drop an old Foreman. Yeah. This is why I say people as well understate the power of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, before he went into his 3-year hiatus because of Vietnam, won 85% of his fights by knockout. I'm sorry, but like, Usyk is fast. Yeah, they say Ali's speed. Usyk, he doesn't win most of his fights by knockout. Ali was knocking out men that could fight for 15 rounds and had iron chins. Ali, whether or not Sonny Liston refused to get up, Ali dropped Sonny Liston. We can see the replay of that shot. It landed and it was hard. Ali was a big puncher. He was fast. He was powerful. But even in his decline, look what he did to George Foreman. And as an old man, look at what George Foreman did to so many people like Moore and so on. So Ali had a chin and heart and power that most guys his size today would know. I believe if I like Usyk because he's proof that if Ali was around today, he would beat up most of these guys. Because Usyk is the same height, same reach,
size, yeah.
same size, and in my opinion, isn't as good. Usyk doesn't have the hand speed Ali did, the foot speed Ali did, and obviously does not have the power that Ali did. Because look at some of the knockouts Ali had. Those were brutal. Usyk doesn't have any knockouts like that. Only the Dubois one is kind of impressive.
Have you seen Usyk fight live?
I haven't had the chance.
See,
No.
I have. His class. Like,
He's
one of them,
beautiful to watch.
It was one of them ones, you know, where you see him on TV and you go, yeah, he's really good. But then, you know, when you're there in person, and that's not trying to say, like, I was there, I was.
I'll have you there.
I'm clever, I know more than you because I was there.
Nah, you peasant. How dare you?
How dare you watch it on TV?
Watching it on your camera
You
film?
have no right to speak around me. But
How very dare.
do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
when you watch him, it was one of them ones where you go, oh, he's class. Like, proper, like...
Oh, it's beautiful.
Class. Like, he just float. It was like, it wasn't even a fight with Dubois. It was like, he got in there, and it was like, move, and it was just like, oh, these two ain't even like in the same.
Shouldn't have pushed the horses.
I'm very feeling.
Tyson Fury, I'm training boxing. My friend, do not be afraid. I will not leave you alone.
You should be a comedian, you know that?
I know, I should, right?
We haven't even spoke about your comic career. I didn't realise true martial artist that you are. I knew you did martial arts. I didn't realise you was a lifestyle guy.
3 things I love. Oh, 4. I love everything to do with history, religion, politics, that side of things. I love cooking and food. I love martial arts. I love comedy, right? Well, I don't really love comedy. It's something, it's a way I express myself, right? But I think martial arts, politics and religion, and food all have a lot in common.
Yeah, I agree.
They exist because of circumstance,
Yep.
right? If we have a grappling sport, there's a reason why we have a grappling sport. You have a weapon art, there's a reason why. There's a reason why Mongolians were good at wrestling to this day. Why? What was their history? You know? So like, I'm from northern Nigeria, and my tribe where, you know, I'm half Hausa, half Igbo. The Igbos are grapplers, the Hausas are strikers. Now, Hausas are strikers because we have a bladed art, right? You have a shield and a sword. There's a style of kickboxing.
Is this like an historic thing you're talking about?
Yeah. So, but now, to this day, there's a style of kickboxing in northern Nigeria called Dambe.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, hand out.
Yeah.
That's how people fought growing up.
Right.
Because martial arts is like a language. If you go to different countries, people fight different.
Yeah, they do.
So there's a reason why someone in Scotland is more likely to headbutt you. It's a cultural thing. The same way in France, they will sweep.
Yeah.
They sweep, they headbutt, they kick. Le savat.
Yeah.
Right? It's there. The English, this was the thing. You know, it went from this to this, right? In the Philippines, boxing and blades. So in the north of Nigeria, again, this was your shield, that's the blade. And so obviously if you've got a shield in front of you, you need to circle from different angles, hence the looping punches of Dambe.
That's interesting.
Yeah?
It's funny you say that. I've spoken to someone once like Muay Thai, everyone knows Muay Thai. In Cambodia, they've got a sport called Prodal Saray, right? You know this one.
Yep.
Now, if you look at it on the thing, it's the same sport, right? But I know someone who's been to both.
And they're just
and he said there's differences, subtle, and he didn't word it the same way you are, but the way he was speaking, it was like alluding to exactly the way, like a cultural history, this because of
even
that.
Even some of the poses, like, you know, Muay Thai, where they have
Yes, okay.
spear, shield. Yeah,
Okay.
but like, you know, people do all these things. There's a reason why weapons look the way they do.
Yeah.
You know, there's a reason why, like, people from Southeast Asia, their armor was not as heavy because they're in a hot country.
Right.
Europeans could wear that kind of shit. Like, imagine wearing that kind of armor that the knights wear, and you're riding through fucking Cambodia.
Not a good day.
Yeah, you forget the army, you die on the way. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a reason why, for example, certain people develop weapons quicker, right? I mean, this might get a bit controversial, but like, if you live in a lush area where there's more forest, there's more things that grow and whatnot, you're less likely to develop weapons, because the main reason for weapons was to defend your tribe or to invade and take from someone else.
Okay.
Now, if you live in an area where there's lots of forestry, greenery, abundance of meat, this, that, and the other, you're less likely to be a conqueror, more likely to be good at medicine, herbal medicine, and that kind of thing. That's what your people specialize in. People who are fishermen, their descendants are going to be good at math. Like, you know, so the same thing, so our cuisine will look a certain way. If you see a group of people and they eat lots of meat and dairy, that's all they eat, probably their people were nomadic, so they would sheep herd, right? You see someone eats lots of fish, obviously the people were near the sea. So you look at that, then you start looking at the martial arts that they have. So if Silat has low stances, why? Swampland, slippery, grass, all that kind of things. The Japanese styles, those punches were stabs, right? People wore armor. The gi and whatnot, again, you grab someone's armor if you lost your sword and throw, like little things like that, develop a whole martial art. And then over time, because you don't have to use them anymore, it turns into something stylized. So a lot of cultures had to turn their martial arts into dances. A lot of martial arts had to. In the Canary Islands, they have a little thing that they do with sticks. All over the Caribbean, they have like dances with sticks and machetes.
Capoeira came from that Brazil.
100%. Capoeira from, Capoeira Angola. Even us, we have Wasan Sanchi, again, twirling of sticks and swords, same in Sudan. Turns into a dance because that's how you preserve it during the time of peace.
Right.
The Japanese turned their stuff into like katas.
Katas, yeah.
Filipinos had the same thing. They had a lot of dances where they would hide what they did with the blade and stuff while the Spanish were there colonizing them. So that's why a lot of their martial arts now looks like drills. They almost look like patty cake, right? Lots of footwork drills. But at the heart of it, there's a lot of dances and cultures that we have. There's something martial about it. So I like human beings. I don't like people, but I like human beings.
Yeah.
Right? There's a difference.
There's a difference.
There's a big difference. So like, if I want to take you on a journey now through my culture, my life experience, who my ancestors were, I can't do that if you don't have that interest, right? I can't force it on you. But if I cook you a dish, for example, you can taste who my ancestors were through the ingredients I used to cook, because you cook what you grow, right? And that's what it is. I think what I like about martial arts is it's a way to appreciate what our ancestors did without sitting down and reading a fucking book about it. Like when we roll here in the evening in Ash's class, we're doing the exact same thing that those guys in the snake pit in Wigan did. After they earned the day's wage, they would go down to the snake pit and they do some good catch-as-catch-can wrestling.
Yeah.
No, for me, when I do no gi and whatnot, in my head, I think this is tradition living on. Right? Because at the end of the day, human beings, we all have the same basic needs. And I think it's important to keep these things alive in whatever form. That's why I think every man should do a combat sport. Every single man. Right. I think grappling is beautiful. I think, don't worry about the belt. Don't worry about the gi. Don't worry about, I've been doing for so years. I don't have cauliflower ears yet. I'm sad. But it's okay. I still do it. I enjoy it. Yeah. Don't worry about the cool rash guard. We'll always find ways to look at the less important stuff. But the main thing is, human beings are the same. When we understand, because that's why you go to a grappling mat and you'll see this guy's right wing, this guy's left wing, this guy's a vegan, this guy's a Drake fan, scum of the earth, this guy's Millwall, this guy's Crystal Palace. But we're all, because you're connecting on a very human level.
Unless you're Tottenham, then you can wait outside.
Yeah, fuck off. So I really love martial arts. Same thing with humor. We laugh. Every culture has had stand-up comedy. If you look at Shakespeare, his shows were the equivalent of stand-up.
Right.
Now we consume it as this high society thing that everyone, look how posh I am, I'm watching Hamlet. No, back then in Stratford, or when people used to go watch it, they would heckle, they would throw stuff at the stage, they would laugh. That was their stand-up, right? They called him the Bard. You have that in Ireland too. You'd have the guys that would come in and they would sing these folk songs and they would do this poetry. You had that in Africa too. They were called griots. Every culture has the same things. The same way they would go and watch gladiators. We like to watch people laugh. We like good food, and we like to fight.
Yeah, there's definitely something innately in the human that likes exactly what you just said. We like to laugh, and we definitely like to fight, right? And even some people that don't like fighting themselves. Dana White said it, right? I'm stealing his line, but if there's a fight breaks out in the corner, everyone's watching it, right? You know what I mean?
100%. Nobody wants to watch people kick a ball.
No.
Right? Everybody wants to watch them
until that kicks off.
Yeah. And if there's a fight during a football game, everybody talks. Yeah.
Forget the score.
Exactly.
Yeah. But mate, this has been fantastic.
That has been mine. Thank you so much.
Unbelievable. And we got to get some roles in. I got to come watch you do comedy, the whole deal. Before we finish, the most important question of the day. This says a lot about a man. Which football team you support?
I don't watch football.
Chelsea, very good. Thank you very much. I always finish with a fist up like this, mate. Squeeze the neck. Boom!